Remember again that it's not just our words that communicate information. Our body language, our volume, and our voices all communicate what we mean and can complement or even contradict the actual words that we say. In this video, we will think more about intonation and what the different patterns of intonation communicate with our listeners. Intonation means the rise and fall of the voice to convey a speaker's meaning or attitude. It's important to focus here on this. The way our voice goes up and down can actually help people understand our meaning or how we feel about something. Consider this. Wow! 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 Match the word to the correct function. After looking at this, we can see why intonation is so important. There are 4 general intonation patterns. Fall, okay. Rise, okay. Hold, okay. Fall, rise, okay. It's easier to make your voice rise or fall when it's a 2-syllable word because we can raise or lower our tone bit by bit. But we can also raise or lower our voices on a 1-syllable word too. We will glide our voice this way. Right or right. Just to note that languages, especially spoken aspects, are fluid and flexible, and different people speak in different ways. So these are general rules and not going to be accurate in every single interaction. Now let's look at each intonation pattern in more detail. Fall. The most common intonation pattern you'll hear is the fall pattern. The fall pattern is used at the end of sentences when you don't need confirmation and you are simply delivering information. The meeting is at noon. We also use it for a WH or information question when the question begins with a question word. Where are we meeting? We also use it to signal the end of a conversation. Thanks for coming. Rise. Next, the rise pattern is also very common as well. We always use a rise when we are asking yes or no questions. Are you coming to the meeting? And generally, the rise pattern is used to clarify information. Let's look at this more closely. For example, even though this is a statement, by changing my intonation, I can signal that I want to clarify this sentence. The meeting's at noon. The meeting's at noon? This can also be used for WH questions too, even though a WH or information question uses a fall pattern. When I'm checking for information, I can use a rise pattern instead. Instead of where is it, I would say, where is it? And that would signal to the listener that I'm checking for that information again. Another common pattern is the fall rise. This is when the tone rises a bit and then falls sharply. One of the main reasons to use the fall rise is to show strong emotions such as surprise or happiness. Oh my God! Great! It does not only have to be used at the end of a sentence as with other patterns, but on the stressed content word. Here, if I want to stress great, I can use a fall rise intonation to stress the word. That was a great meeting. But the fall rise can also signal uncertainty or hesitancy too. I'm not sure. Finally, it's common to use the fall rise when offering a choice to someone. Shall we meet at 2 or 3? Notice that on the to, I emphasize that choice by using the fall rise, and on the next option, my voice falls. The last pattern is the least used pattern, but it's extremely useful, especially when you are in a conversation and don't want to be interrupted. This is the hold pattern. When you hold your tone steady, it signals to your listeners that you do not want to be interrupted. So, let me see. My listeners know that I'm thinking, and I will continue my thought. It works as well for long sentences at the end of a thought group. They said we would be sharing updates on the projects started last quarter and also brainstorming about what kinds of workshops we'd like to have for professional development. Finally, we use a holding pattern when we are listing things so that people don't interrupt our list. Who else is coming to the meeting? Teresa, Tim, Quan Lee, Jazz, and Taryn. Notice that my voice only fell on the final word. Now, listen to this conversation and think about the meaning behind the intonation.
When is it? Noon. Where is it? I'm not sure. Here, let me check my email. Okay, Taryn says it's either in his office or Jazz's office. Okay, thanks. What's it about? They said we would be sharing updates on the projects started last quarter and also brainstorming about what kinds of workshops we'd like to have for professional development. Got it. Who else is coming to the meeting? Us, Teresa, Tim, Quan Lee, Jazz, and Taryn. Teresa's coming? Yes, she's the one who called the meeting. Great.
Did you get it? Check these answers to see. Try practicing these patterns by pausing the video and repeating the intonation. One last note. Notice the speaker's voice in the final statement. Great. Sarcasm occurs when there is a disconnect between the word's meaning and the speaker's attitude. The speaker uses an enthusiastic word, but their tone is low. The speaker is not enthusiastic. And that's it. You don't need to memorize every single intonation pattern, but having a general idea of when to use the fall, the rise, the fall rise, and the hold pattern can already give you powerful tools to communicate with others. Thanks for listening.